Stonemonk Gamer here, and I'm going to show you around my hobby space, show you where I keep my stuff, how I prepare my space, where I work, kind of how I organize it a little bit. Now this is a bit more organized than usual. Got it cleaned up. I get it cleaned up maybe every month, maybe once a month I get it all cleaned up. Otherwise it's all slowly creeps into disarray, as I'm sure you all have experienced. Yeah, so I share my space with kind of a utility space, other things, storing a bunch of cabinets here. I've got the main kind of desk, which isn't really a desk, it's more like a cabinet top thing, and then the fold-out table. You get one of those for like $15 at Home Depot or something similar, and then quite a bit more cabinet space over here. Some of it I use, some of it I don't. I got a folding table back there to hold some more things. I currently have a softbox light in here, as I work for a video production company that I started a few years back, so I have some softboxes and that sort of stuff. So as I'm working on kind of my space and doing some more videos, I'm using it to experiment with what I might need, what lights the space well. There's a pretty bright couple light in the room. It's got some LEDs up above those cabinets and underneath, and then I've got a light off of I picked up a Tau light off of eBay. All right, so let's come inside and take a look at a few more things. So here's my hobby space over here. It's probably the most important, where the paints are at. These are a couple of racks from what's it called? It's an Australian company, something like oh, dang it. CNC Workshop is the name of it, I believe. Miniature. They do a lot of MDF miniature stuff. So it's pretty cool. I like them a lot. There's lots of options for that. I've got mostly Citadel paints. I've got a few Privateer Press. There's a couple of Crix paints that I use a ton in my Death Army. I've got some of the metallic color paints from Vallejo, and I also have a whole bunch of like Delta hobby paints in the back that I use when I'm probably not supposed to. Various paint brushes and hobby tools and all that kind of stuff, paper towels, etc. Some more. One of the things I have out right now is just a bunch of kind of projects that I'm working on. So these are the Paladors. I got 6 more Paladors to put together. These guys have been sitting like this for a while, so probably not going to get to them soon. But they don't pack away as easy as some other things. Next to my space, I've got a large kind of white poster board with kind of the infinity roll, so you don't have like a crease in the back. And that's where I photograph most of my miniatures if I'm going to put them online, etc. I use this light that's right here. I'll move it over there, point in that direction. I might use the softbox, and then the lights up above. That tends to be enough to light them. It doesn't feel like it's as still getting used to it since I moved in. It's not quite as, it doesn't feel like it's as effective as what I had in my old space. Maybe that's just the proximity of those lights above. So maybe I need to turn those off and use these other lights to light them more, etc. A couple Holy Havoc trophies, one for Best Warlord and one for Best Overall. Warlord was last year, 2016, and Overall was this year's, 2017. Yeah, so you can see the softbox there. On my space, usually I have my computer there. If I'm recording, like just interviews and talking and that sort of stuff, I'm just using the camera off of my laptop. I've got what I'm working on currently, the paints that I'm using right now out here. Working on some Silver Tower stuff, so some Zangors. Going with a little green macaw kind of feel. This is my palette for anything. Otherwise, I go right out of the pot. Otherwise, if I've got a dropper type stuff, it'll go onto there. That's some Arcanauts, some whatever those guys are, some Reavers and Blood Knights, and some Shadespire stuff. I've got my KO ship over here. I just like looking at it. I'm not working on this stuff right now, at least not tonight. I've got a zombie giant I've been working on. Just kind of doing a little kit bashing and having a little fun. And then I got a bunch of death stuff working on. I've got some Blood Knights and some more Ironjaw Brute Vargeists to put together for Adepticon. I've got some Graveguard that are Chaos Knights with skull heads. I've got a, just as kind of mostly going to be used as a statue most of the time, but could be a Necropolis or a Necrosphinx or something to that effect, and a few other things. Working on this fun thing for a buddy of mine, Aaron, on the podcast, on the multicast, so that sort of thing. And so this is my kind of workspace, and this is how I kind of have it arranged. So I can kind of jump into anything I need to and use anything that I need to. Now I've got kind of some stuff up here. Got some of my books and such. I don't use these much. I'm mostly using phone app and maybe a printout once in a while. But it's nice to have some place to store those. And then I've got some of my hobby stuff over here. The only thing probably not in here is my my airbrush compressor and airbrush are out in the garage, which are just outside that door. No need to go out there though. It's a mess because it's getting into winter, and so everything's coming in. And then I guess I've got some board games in cabinet A. Cabinet B has all my unfinished kits, and a lot of these boxes are, some of these boxes are full kits, just waiting to be opened and used. Some are just storage for kind of the leftover sprues of those bits, but they're too big to, Carnifex bits are almost too big to cut them all off and put them in stuff, etc. Just waiting, can't wait to be finishing some of these things or getting over to some of these things. These are all my bits boxes. So I've got some destruction over here, I've got order over here, I got some death, and then a few other odds and ends here. Some kind of all the kind of flock and little things that you might put on a base. Some leftover projects I still got to get to that are not for a hobby. Some various storage things. And then down below, this is where I store all of my armies. So every single one of my armies that is playable is in one of these tall type bins, these stacks, and ready to play. So whatever I want to play, I just grab that stack, take it over to the game shop, and I play it. Right now I prefer that over kind of a display case. I guess it would depend on if there was anything I just didn't want to play. There are a couple of, if there's anything that's not either finished or I'm not ready to play it, I do put them down in kind of these bigger bins. So right now I'm not working on orcs, and these stuff isn't, or Skitari. So it's all down here in storage because I'm not going to be playing that. This is my my terrain box that I always bring out whenever I'm out playing, or if we're doing our skirmish campaign, Renown and Ruin, then I'll bring this out for that. There we go. It's nice it came, these were kind of clothing closets for the previous owners, so they're all nice and set. What? And then cabinet C, this kind of terrain stuff if I'm building. So I've got a couple of bins worth of terrain stuff that is in progress. Comic books from when I was a kid. And then a whole bunch of terrain. Some of it's finished, but almost too big to lug around. Some that's in progress. And the odds and ends. I was looking at some of that, was it Shadow War, Armageddon? So I was looking at some materials for creating some of that sort of thing, but didn't get very far. Anyway, one of the things that I'm hoping to do with the space is just make it a little bit more easier to record video. I don't have any setup for recording a second camera or for like using a camera pointed at my hobby space. So I'd love to just be able to have a camera that's doing something like this, so I could be hobbying and showing stuff. I did a video recently where I was showing the progress on the sales for this frigate, and I just used my laptop camera for that. So yeah, so this is my space. Like I said, wouldn't mind making it a little more efficient or set up for different types of video. This softbox does a lot for helping me make my laptop camera kind of pick up things and be suitable for a lot of that. So lighting is really important, often as or more important than the camera itself. So yeah, ask me any questions if you want about the hobby space, how I use it, etc. If you're interested about any of the, the light or the how I made anything or blah blah blah, the CNC materials, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'm ready to shut this off and get back to some painting. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you feel like it. Like this video if you liked it, and we'll talk to you soon.